Hello and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day to our lecturer, Dr. Mahmad bin Jalil, and all my fellow friends. So for today, we are going to present to you guys about management of collection and distribution zakat in Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Afrina Binti Afkar Zairi, and I will present to you guys about introduction and zakat collection system in private institution. Firstly, we go to introduction. Zakat is a pillar of Islam that must be fulfilled when it has qualified. Zakat must be fulfilled to the 8 categories of asnaf as those who are entitled to receive it. The concept of zakat as a part of the pillars of Islam is one way in the economic development of weak communities. The dimension of zakat is not only ritual worship, but it also includes social, economic, justice and welfare dimensions. One of the main goals of zakat is to create a fair and equitable economic difference among the people so that the rich will not become richer and poor will not become poorer. It is appropriate to prioritize poverty reduction with the economic empowerment of the poor in an integrated and systematic manner, which is a basis foundation for building a strong market economy.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Asyikin Binti Bahori. My metric number is 2019-239032. First of all, I will explain about the concept of zakat. According to Mahmad 2020, the term zakat is derived from the Arabic word az-zakah, which has several meanings, including an-nama, growing, at-taharah, purity or purification, and al-barakah, which is blessing. And for the literal meaning, zakat is a religious obligation on all Muslims who are sahib al-nasab or have a certain amount of money to pay a prescribed share of their capital or savings, such as agriculture procedure, animals, commercial operation, paper currency, and precious metals such as gold and silver for each year.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zairi Binti Mahmad. I'm from IC1105 BB, and my metric number is 2019892656, and I will present about the source of zakat and the procedure zakat in Malaysia. Right, for the source of zakat, zakat is important for the economic development of the country since it can provide microfinance to a group of individuals who do not have enough money to meet their fundamental necessities. In Malaysia, there will be 4 sources of zakat, which is agriculture zakat, business zakat, employee wage zakat, which is earnings, and company zakat. When it comes to zakat agriculture, the most of laws in effect in all states describes on the rise as a source of zakat, as in the probate and administration legislation, fitrah and zakat. Article 9 of the legislation of 1969 specifies that agriculture zakat is exclusive divide on rice without addressing the production of other crops like latex, palm oil, cocoa, coffee, fruits and vegetables. Agriculture zakat is required on all harvests because harvests are the outcome of what arises from the land, and it is grown by farmers with the goal of taking out agriculture ventures to generate money. Zakat mal has been declared mandatory by Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala from inception of Islam before the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam moved to Medina. At the period, the requirement of zakat was not dictated by the quantity and kind of property, where the beneficiary zakat was solely poor and homeless.
Now, I will explain about the types of zakat. Zakat have 2 types, which is zakat fitrah and zakat mal, which is property. Zakat fitrah is such zakat that is required of every Muslim man and woman who meets the statutory criteria and must be distributed from the beginning of Ramadan, and it's makruh to wait until the 8th prayer hour arrival. For the zakat mal, which is property, we must collect it from a property's owner who has satisfied the requirements of specific property zakat regulation. Zakat imposed on individuals or institution property mal under the grade and procedures established by law. There are several types to pay in zakat mal, which is gold and silver, zakat livestock, zakat agriculture, zakat KWSP, zakat business, and zakat shares. 4.2 Condition for zakat obligation. First and foremost, which is the condition is Islam. Non-Muslim are not required to pay zakat since it's an act of worship to bring one closer to Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala and demonstrate obedience as servant to Muslim people. Second, it must a free citizen, which is slavery has been abolished, although the issue of slave is no longer present. Academic continue to see independence as one of the required criteria zakat. Thirdly, about perfect ownership. Properties ownership must be unambiguous, with no one else entitled to it but the owner. Fourth, a property must have enough nasab, which is the minimum threshold that determines whether a property is required to pay zakat. For example, nisab is the value of 20 misqal for zakat of income, business, saving and shares. For silver and gold, must 85 grand. In Malaysia, we calculate the house using the Hijri year, which is 365 days per year. And the last is have a rising property. Al-Nama. Zakat must be applied to property that is growing or has the potential to grow. Property's expanding nature is the ability to provide returns and revenue to its owner.
Alright, we move to the next part, which is the procedure of zakat in Malaysia. The development of zakat distribution as a government body zakat is not required by most schools of thought in Islamic law. The Hanafi school of thought hold that the zakat donor is permitted to deliver related to intellectual property zakat, including such as gold and silver. The zakat organization's job is separated into two parts, which is collecting zakat and distributing zakat. This responsibility will be performed at the level of governance by authorized zakat officials who must certify the criteria outlined. This should be made clear that the job of zakat management is vital but not required to be given over to the government as middleman. This tries to separate the government's function in tax collection. The success of distribution of zakat is heavily dependent on zakat institution management. The distribution of zakat fund is an extremely essential component because it demonstrates how zakat fund may have an influence on the society and country aspect of poverty eradication and economic development. The consequences include that proper administration of zakat fund is essential in order for its establishment to fulfill the intended goals.
Hi everyone, my name is Aisyah Binti Harun, number 3 2019404656. So for today, I will continue to the 6.0 Zakat collection system in Malaysia. Zakat is an act of worship and a social system that needs to be managed by the government in a country. Zakat payment method have been provided by state zakat institution to the Muslim community for the convenience of paying zakat. This method can be divided into three, which namely the zakat institution is left, Islamic banking institution and other institution. For the payment of zakat through zakat state institution, there is one method offered, which is payment at zakat counter. Zakat payment through Islamic banking institutions, there are 7 methods offered, namely payment through online services, payment at bank counters, payment through credit card, payment by check or bank draft or remittance, payment through telephone banking, payment through short message service, and also payment via auto teller machine, ATM. For the payment of zakat through other institutions, there are 3 methods offered, namely payment through the salary deduction scheme by the employer, payment through the zakat counter at the Institute of Higher Education, and also the last is payment of zakat through the post office. We move to the 6.1 formal institutions. In Malaysia, there are 6 institutions that are not privatized for the distribution and collection of zakat. The first is Kedah, Lembaga Zakat Negeri Kedah Darul Aman. Perlis, Majlis Agama Islam dan Adat Istiadat Melayu Perlis. Perak, Majlis Agama Islam dan Adat Istiadat Melayu Perak. Terengganu, Majlis Agama Islam dan Adat Istiadat Melayu Terengganu. Kelantan, Majlis Agama Islam dan Adat Istiadat Melayu Kelantan. And the last is Johor, Majlis Agama Islam Negeri Johor.
Next, we move to the zakat collection system in private institution. The collection and distribution of zakat is under the responsibility of the government. However, there is a debate among jurists that zakat can be distributed directly from property owners to asnaf. The State Islamic Religious Council or MAIN represents the government in the collecting and distribution of zakat as called for in the Federal Constitution, as well as the enactment Islamic Religious Administration of the states. Federal Territory, which is Pahang, Selangor, Penang, Negeri Sembilan and Malacca, are among the states that have privatized zakat collecting. The Council has authority over provisions of state legislation that clearly declare the right to collect zakat or zakat fitrah. If the monarch is a tyrant, there are 2 points of view whether we should pay the zakat to the government or not. Firstly, the first class permitted the tyrant to receive zakat. They are made up of Maliki and Hanbali scholars. Property owners can distribute their own zakat according to Hanbali Atta scholars. But if the government distributes zakat exactly at its target, then zakat must be given to it. Imam Shafi'i believed it is absurd to offer zakat to the wrongdoers.
7.0 Issues and Problems of Zakat System in Malaysia. Problems of zakat system in Malaysia, which is lack of commitment, lack of management expertise, and also lack of information. Well, the issues of zakat implementation in Malaysia, the first is inefficiency. The zakat fund distribution process considered as inefficient because the fund is not reach the receiver effectively, and also too much bureaucracy is one of the issues that cause all operation become slow down and time consuming. The second is prospective payers. Zakat fund collection are sometimes decreasing even the population at one area in a quite a number, such as Selangor. Even have 2 million Muslims but only 160 people paid the zakat. The third is capacity building. The gift or distribution of zakat will solve poverty problems in a short while, while the needy and the poor is not spending at anything they have and only depend on the zakat fund.
Hi, my name is Nurul, Syifa, Binti, Mahmad, Zamri, number matric 254085. We continue to the importance of zakat distribution in Malaysia. Zakat is distributed to help the poor and needy to meet their basic needs. Most individuals want to pay zakat directly to the asnaf. It is not something that is forbidden, but the effect of buying zakat directly to the zakat asnaf and not directly to the zakat institution will cause many problems. Problems such as leakage of zakat collection and even distribution between asnaf will occur if the payer continues to pay zakat to asnaf, especially the poor and needy. Next, the systematic distribution, it will have an impact on society and the country in terms of poverty, eradication and economic development. Zakat management today is not just administering zakat as in the public sector, but it needs to understand the concept of management itself, which is to plan, organize, coordinate and make decisions. It is considered to reduce poverty in society because the asnaf such as the poor and needy have been helped and remove their poverty and ensure a comfortable life for them. It can help in accordance with the circumstances of the asnaf. This is because zakat does not mean mere monetary assistance, as the asnaf group also differ according to their needs. So, zakat also gives in the form of capital assistance such as sewing machines, carpentry tools, sugarcane juicing, processing machines, and other necessary tools, and can help recipients to start a business in order to improve their economic and living standard. Okay, for the conclusion, the institution of zakat is very important in the zakat system. It is an intermediary between the payer and the recipient, which is asnaf. If this institution fails to function properly, then the zakat system will not be successfully implemented. Zakat management nowadays also requires managers who have other knowledge such as management, entrepreneurship, technology and so on. The distribution of zakat in Malaysia has undergone many changes, where cooperation in the distribution of zakat between various institutions has led to many improvements to a more positive. It has also successfully helped overcome the economic problems and the living standards of the poor among Muslims in Malaysia. Its effectiveness depends on the cooperation and integrated action of all parties involved, which means namely of the zakat institution, the government and the zakat asnaf itself. Thank you.